up? Hey! Hi. Hey, is this on?
Yeah.
Hi there. How you guys doing?
I hope a bunch of you out there have questions. We've got a microphone. My friend there in the orange shirt right by the camera, she's got a microphone. Go line up right over there if you got questions. I've got some stuff for him. First question that I've got for you, Jeremy, is, will you spend your life with me for the next 10 minutes?
Sure, bud.
Sounds good? All right. Yeah, really awkward.
Like 45 or something?
Yeah, 45. More like 45 instead of 10.
We're not gonna like make out in a gazebo.
No, we're not. No. Nope, no.
It's inside joke. Sorry. Only if you saw the movie.
We understood it.
Okay, thanks, bro.
So you're from Texas.
I am.
You're from San Antonio?
Corpus.
Corpus. Somebody told me wrong.
Corpus Christi. Yeah.
The home of Whataburger.
Home of Selena.
Selena and Whataburger and other amazing, great Texas things, including Jeremy Jordan.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, what were you a fan of? What were you into? I mean, were you into musicals from when you were very young?
No, I wasn't a big musical person. No, I watched, TV and cartoons, and I played outside all the time. So like I wasn't like a huge kind of fan until, when I went to school for theater. That's when I started getting into theater, and that's also kind of when I started watching TV and becoming like a big TV junkie. But
What were your
otherwise, I
shows?
just like loved all the random things that kids love, like Nerf and swimming pools and.
What were your shows? What were your
My
shows?
kids.
Cartoons. I mean, what were you running home after school?
Oh,
Or
what
you
did I
getting
watch?
on Saturday morning?
I mean, I love me some Power Rangers as a kid. I watched like Ren and Stimpy and Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs, stupid stuff like that.
Have you been in any of these shows with Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche and like the Animaniacs voice actors? Have you been at one of these with them yet?
No. Well, I haven't done a lot of these shows yet, so I haven't made the rounds.
Do you feel like it might be, you might freak out a little bit, being in the room with Pinky and the Brain and Yakko, Wacko, and Doc?
If they were real, maybe, but probably not. I guess I'm pretty chill. I mean, I feel like I would freak out. I don't know if I would freak out. I probably just would just shut down and like be really quiet and not approach them or say anything, then regret it and beat myself up later. So don't do that. Come say hi to me.
So you went to art school, and
Yep.
and is that what was it that moved you toward wanting to be a performer, wanting to get up on stage in front of a camera, that kind of thing?
Well, I was always really shy as a kid, so I kind of needed like an outlet, and I didn't realize it, but I mean, my grandma was into theater, and so she kind of threw me in a couple of plays as a kid. It was fun, but I was just like so really shy. And what I realized was that if I go up on stage and pretend to be somebody else, that kind of got me out of my own skin, and that kind of high was really exciting to me. And so, yeah, I kind of fell in love with it and got bitten by the bug. And I always liked to sing, but I was also shy about that. Then I found out that I was good at it, so it gave me a little bit of confidence. So I mean, it was really just a way to for me to escape all the stuff going on in my life, whatever it was, that might have been negative, to kind of find something positive for myself where I could feel confident, feel like I could contribute positively, and so I just kept rolling.
As you've done a number of musicals, things in concert, you've done a lot of singing, a lot of performing in front of people. Are there shows that you would still really love to be in, at some point, whether on screen, on stage, stuff that's really, near and dear to you that you'd like to be in at some point?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I love like the sort of classics and stuff in terms of like theater, but for me, the excitement is sort of in creating something new for the first time and the journey of that, and sort of getting to discover qualities of character that nobody else has found out, and to kind of put something new out in the world. So that's a lot more exciting to me. That being said, I mean, if there was like a great revival that was coming around for some, old Sondheim show or something.
Which Sondheim show do you sing in the car? Are you like a Merrily We Roll Along guy like me? What's your taste in Sondheim?
I love Merrily. I don't know it as well though, so I'd probably go more of the company, Sweeney Todd,
We got a whole line of people over there. I think we're going to go.
Oh, I see.
Right there.
Are they questioners?
Yeah, I think they're questioners.
Yeah, I'm the dude in this line, I think. And so I've got a dude question for you.
What's up, dude?
You've worked with, bring it on, bro. You work with a diverse group of people. So I think what we all need to know is who's hotter, Supergirl or Dolly Parton?
You know what? He was right. That was totally a dude question. That was exactly correct.
Listen, I love Dolly Parton with all my heart, but Supergirl's way hotter.
Okay, so
You're
you've
not
done
meet anybody nicer than Dolly Parton in your entire life, no matter how nice the voice is.
Okay, so you've done a lot of work on Broadway, and I want to know what's the craziest thing that's happened during a show? Like weird audience thing, something strange that's happened.
Okay, well this was on Broadway, but when I was growing up in community theater, I was in a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Hey!
Joseph.
And I was, one of the brothers, and I was dancing in the middle of the stage, and there was, a lot of stages there's a pit, right? So we had a trap door that opened up so that somebody could do something. And I was just dancing like a fool, and I straight up fell into this trap door, which is only a 3 foot by 3 foot entrance. So somehow I got in there without kind of hitting my head on the side. It was a 6 foot drop. I hit the ground on my back, and then the adrenaline, I jumped up, grabbed the ledge, and got back on the stage. My entire family was in the audience, and after the show, I was like, oh my God, did you guys see that? That was crazy. They're like, what are you talking about? Center stage, clearly nobody was watching me. Nobody noticed. I sometimes think that it wasn't real.
What is your favorite role you've portrayed?
Ooh, favorite role I portrayed. I gotta probably say Jack Kelly. Just because, it was, sort of like a childhood dream fulfilled, because I loved Newsies as a kid, but then I got to kind of breathe new life into it. And, it was kind of the role that pushed me farther forward than anything else that I'd done. And I just loved it, man. And I got to kind of lead all those kids, and it really felt like I grew up a lot playing that part, and I learned a lot about myself and about acting and about, just people. And I think I really grew up and matured a lot playing that part, so yeah.
So what's the hardest role that you've ever played?
The hardest role I've ever played. Interesting. Oh, okay. Well, my very first professional gig as an actor out of college was in a play called The Little Dog Laughed, which was in a regional theater, and I had to get completely naked and, make out with somebody on the middle of the stage, and my mom saw it. And I also had to cry a lot, which I'd never done before, in life. So that was really challenging. In fact, I cried more backstage when the director would get mad at me for not crying on stage. So that was definitely the hardest one. I don't think my body was ready for me to do that role though, because halfway through the run, I got appendicitis and I had to leave the show because I had to have surgery.
Oh my God.
You really inspired me from the Newsies. Can you sing Half of Santa Fe for me?
I'm sorry, I can't quite see you from back there. Would you mind coming up here for a minute? Come on up to the stage. Come up to the stage, because I think you're dressed up.
Is this a newsboy?
I think this is a newsboy.
A news girl.
A news girl, and we've got another news girl right over here.
Nice. great. So
Here,
many
come be an
amazing-
assistant newsgirl to our other newsgirl. Come on up, my dear.
Nice.
This is your chair.
What's up?
You're taking my job for a
She's
minute.
taking this job.
What's your name?
Evelyn Woody.
All right, Evelyn. Here's your microphone.
I want to ask you a favor. Can you sing a little Santa Fe for me? Okay, let's hear it.
Can I sing Carrying the Banner?
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. You gotta stand up though. Yeah.
Hey, that's my cigar, you'll steal another. Hey, look, it's bath time at the zoo. I thought that I'd surprise my mother. If you could find her,
Oh, where's
who asked
you?
you? Bottle Ellie to the
She
harbor.
knows all that.
Easy pickings guaranteed. Try any banker, bum, or bumper. They almost all knows how to read.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Evelyn. Hey, everybody just knows the one line from that song, Seize the Day. Can we do a call and response real quick? Yes. Now is the time to seize the day. Now is the time to seize the day. Yeah, there we go. Let's hear it for our Newsies. Does it surprise you how many people have just been straight up, I love you from Newsies? Everything else, forget it. I love Newsies.
No, I mean, and like I said, it's like the thing. I mean, it makes sense because I've done a lot of Broadway, and that's been the majority of my career up until now. And I'm just like second fanboy to the left over in Supergirl, but in Newsies, I was the star.
Next up.
Well, I definitely can't follow that cuteness, but...
I can't hear you, sweetie.
Oh, sorry, I can't follow that cuteness, but if you could gender swap a role, what would be your dream female Broadway role to play?
My dream female Broadway role to play.
If you were to gender swap into it.
Right now, like
Mine's
that's
so
on the
great.
show, that's on Broadway, I would love to be the lead role of Waitress. I saw that show and it killed me. I was like, why can't I be a woman? 'Cause I would love to take a bite out of that pie of the show.
I had my money on you.
Not where I thought that joke was going.
Honestly, I had my money on you wanting to be Peggy in Hamilton.
Oh, no, I mean... no.
Angelica or Eliza?
Come on. just-
Angelica or Eliza?
That's too predictable. Plus, they're not the lead.
We gotta
It's not called
stop.
Peggy. Who is next?
Hi, Jeremy. We have a little Supergirl fan over here.
Yes,
and,
girl.
She's a little shy, but she wants to know how does being on Supergirl compare to Broadway? Because she hasn't seen Broadway, but she loves you on Supergirl.
Okay, fantastic. It's great. The best part about it is kind of getting to reach out to fans all across the world and to get to sort of inspire people, little girls like you, and families, and it's a great show to be a part of for that reason. And in comparison to Broadway, it's a completely different kind of experience. You show up and you say a few lines and then you go home, and 6 months later they put it all together. On Broadway, you show up and you do the whole show in front of a live audience. I mean, it's a lot more exhilarating as an actor, but you don't quite have the reach and the influence ability that you do doing a TV show.
So in all of your 3 seasons of filming Supergirl, what was your favorite scene to film?
Well, my favorite scene to film in all 3 seasons. Wow. I mean, personally, my favorite stuff is when I get to work with Kyler, who plays Alex, because we just literally laugh the entire time, and we goof off, and we both, whenever we're in a scene together, we can't ever remember each other's lines. Because every time I look at her in the face, in the eyes, we can't. So when we do scenes together, I have to like look at her nose or like her eyebrow or her forehead, because the second I see those eyes, I just like I lose it. So, I mean, I love doing stuff with her. You know, there's been a couple scenes where she does like her Alex stare down and just completely knocks me off my guard, and those are really fun to shoot for me personally. Thank you.
So if you could be like one other superhero in the DC universe, who would you be?
Who would I be?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on Batman, so I don't know if I would be Batman though, because like I have to really hit the gym and like, grow like 6 inches. So maybe I'd be more like a Nightwing, or even just a Robin, like, because Robin's cool too. Thanks, man.
So my husband and I and his grandmother, we sit and watch Supergirl like every time it comes on, every time she records it.
I can't hear you, darling.
I'm sorry. My husband and I and his grandmother, we watch Supergirl every time it comes on, and she records it. And I didn't even know you were on Broadway. I love Broadway. So this
It's
is
been a
news to
while.
me. Well, my question is, what makes you nervous on Supergirl? Because every time I watch it, I sit there and I peg the whole show, and I make them pause and be like, "Oh, this is what's gonna happen next."
Oh my
And
God.
then it happens, and I'm like,
So your question is, what makes me nervous?
yes.
I mean, I don't really get nervous doing Supergirl because it's so like it's such a chill set, and we just like goof off and laugh all the time. The hardest stuff for me is like all the technical stuff. So like I'm always saddled with all the like, and then this system is charging the negative particle ions, and the supercomputer is in flux of the hydrogen manipulator. I don't know. So it's like that kind of stuff is so ridiculous.
Yeah. I was wondering if you.
That's always the hardest. And what's also really tough is like when you're doing scenes and you're on the phone and like it's all super high stakes and you're like, Supergirl, no! And you're just alone in the room. There's like a bunch of cameramen just like this. And they're fully judging you. And you're like, shut up! Don't look at me! But like, make sure there's light on my face. I mean, those are the toughest things. But I mean, nervous? Nah, we just go in there and we have as much fun as possible. And you know, we set up a green room backstage. We got a ping pong table. We got Legos. We got a TV with cable. Like we got our dogs. Like we have a good time.
Yeah, I was wondering about the nervous thing. Every time I sit there and peg everybody, peg the whole scene, I'm like, I bet that person
Can't hear you.
to say that.
Get on the mic, get on the mic.
I'm sorry. Every time I watch it, I sit there and I'm like, oh, I bet they're nervous in that scene, and so that's what I'm wondering.
You know, I think they also, you know, you got to learn how to turn it on. So like you're hanging out on set, and then you kind of flip the switch for yourself, so that you kind of jump into the stakes of the scene and jump into the high energy. Because if you keep that on, like once the cameras start rolling, you're just gonna be exhausted. So yeah, I mean, we try to, you know, it's acting. We try to build that for you. So I'm glad that it worked.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I was just wondering if you had any crazy stories to share from when you guys worked with Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith.
Guy's an agent of chaos.
So Kevin Smith has directed a few episodes of Supergirl, and yeah, famously known as Silent Bob. He's nuts. And I love him. His whole thing is that he doesn't do anything. He just like watches other people do their thing and like occasionally says, "That was good." And so what he kind of does best is motivate everybody. Like he's always leading like cheers, and literally after every take he makes everybody applaud for you. So it's kind of nice. And then if you do good,
And even if you don't do good, he'll like go to like the dollar store and get you like a little Nerf gun or like Play-Doh or like a little toy, and he'd be like, "This is yours if you don't mess up."
Hi.
Hi.
It's okay, you got this. I'm gonna start crying in a minute. It'll be fine.
She's giggling or is she crying?
No, a little bit.
Because I
little
have
bit
a
both.
crush on you.
You have a crush on me? Sorry, girl. I was married.
Keep taking it.
I'm cosplaying as
Girl, you look a little young too. How old are you?
11.
I mean, she's allowed to have a crush on
We
you.
are in Texas, but no. No. I am 3 times your age. What's your question?
What was your favorite blooper filming on Supergirl?
My favorite blooper? Oh man.
Is it G-rated?
Probably not. Most bloopers involve bleep. Okay. Oh God, I've told this story before. I always get in trouble for this.
I mean, if you've already been in trouble for it, how much more trouble can you be
So
in?
in season 1, no, I get in trouble because other people start telling the story when I'm not around, and it's not fair for them to do that. So in season 1, towards the end of the season, there was a character. Oh gosh, I can't remember her name. She was big and blue, and she was part of a computer. And what was her name? Indigo. Yeah, great. So there's one point where I'm in Kara's apartment, and she pops out of the computer, right? She just like bursts out at us, and we all have to like jump back, like, oh my God, what happened? And of course, that didn't really happen when we were shooting it, so we all had to just kind of fake it. And I don't know what we were eating that day, but we get to that point, and we jump back, and it's me and Makad and Melissa. And we jump back, and as soon as I land, I let out the big fart. And everybody loses it for like 2 minutes straight. Because it was silent, we're supposed to go, and then it's like what's called an act out, which means like the camera cuts, so you have to like hold it and be quiet, and that's not what happened. And it was the end of the day, and everybody was so annoyed by it because we just wanted to get it done, but it was also so funny that they were like annoyed but also laughing. It was embarrassing. That's one of the moments I farted on set.
Jeremy Jordan delivering
Hope you
truly,
still have a crush on me.
truly impactful acting.
Hello. I have 2 quick questions. One is, are you going to work more with Katie this year? Because you guys don't get a lot, and you're kind of the tech nerds on Supergirl.
Well, as of now, we are in episode 9. I have had 1 scene with Katie. So hopefully more, because I love Katie. We hang out like pretty much every day. So, I mean, we're friends in real life, IRL as the kids say. So I think it would be really fun to do a scene with her.
And my other question is, how did you and Jonathan Groff start saying "Let me be your star" to each other?
One more time.
How did you and Jonathan Groff start saying "Let me be your star" to one another? I know it started out like a joke or something.
Okay, well, we did that as part of a benefit concert in which, like, you intentionally sing songs from the other gender or songs that you would never sing in real life. And so, I was in Smash at the time, and Jonathan Groff, as always, is, popular and famous. And so, it was kind of a running inside joke with us for years that he would take all my parts. And so I thought it would be funny to have a sing-off doing "Let Me Be Your Star" as part of that concert. So that's how we did that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. So one of my favorite parts of Supergirl is the soundtrack and all the great songs that are in
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I was wondering if you could choose one song or one artist to be featured on that show, what would you choose?
Oh, jeez. You know what? You know what Supergirl hasn't done yet? Is like an 80s montage where Alex is training Winn to be a secret agent and teaching him how to fight. So like, give me some like hard rock 80s bad A song and give me montage. That's what I want.
Or maybe like a Bonnie Tyler holding out for a hero.
Anything Bonnie Tyler is great. Yeah, holding out for yeah, I like it. Thank you.
Coming in season 4.
Hi. So I first saw you on Smash, and I loved it. And so my question was, what is the biggest difference between being on Broadway and being on a show about Broadway?
Well, you know, well, they use auto-tune on your voice when you're doing a TV show.
And you're like, stop it!
Even if you didn't request it. You know, it was what I loved about doing Smash was for me coming from Broadway into TV. This is my first TV gig. It was a great way to sort of bridge the gap for me. And you know, there's not a lot of rehearsal. I think that's the main difference, because on Broadway you're rehearsing for months before you put up a show, and on television you either have no rehearsal for whatever scene you're doing or very little. And even for the musical numbers, you know, I'd show up like the day before, learn whatever it was, you know, do the pre-record in the studio, which is another big difference, which I kind of loved, because I'd never done any studio recording aside from like doing the soundtrack, which is like pop, 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 you're done. And this is like you spend hours and hours recording one song, making it just perfect in every little aspect of it, which is kind of cool for me, because I've always been a perfectionist. Being a theater actor, you get one shot. I mean, granted, you're doing it every day, but like on the day, you get a one shot to get it right, you know, which puts a lot of pressure on you and kind of takes a lot of the pressure off when you're kind of sitting in a booth being like, oh, okay. That's not right. That's not what I was going for. Let's do that again. It's okay. It's okay.
I got 2 quick questions. Back at Carol, did you have any particular teacher that inspired you to do what you do now?
At my high school?
Yeah.
Carroll High School in Corpus Christi, Texas?
Yes. I'm the one that showed you the picture. Oh, and the second part of the question.
This guy went to school a year behind me in Texas and brought the yearbook from when I was a sophomore. I wish I could show you this picture because I had a butt cut, as we call it. My hair was about as long as it is right now, but parted straight down the center with like.
Dude, that used to be the jam. That used to be
with like all the gel. Yeah, I looked ridiculous. There's a reason that there's no other picture in my possession of that haircut. I guess, let's see, my choir teacher probably. Because my choir teacher, I was a big choir boy at Carroll. And 4 years in choir, I did the Magicals, which was the ensemble singing group. And he really kind of opened a lot of doors for me and taught me a lot about my voice. And yeah, so I owe a lot to him. Dennis Richardson. Give him a shout out. Cool, thank you very much. You got it, buddy.
Okay, no one's asked you yet, so can we get a little bit of the Jack Kelly accent?
You want me to talk like Jack Kelly?
Thank you.
I can't tell you how many people came up to me yesterday and was like, talk like Jack Kelly. I'm like, okay, guys.
I'm Jack Kelly.
No, I'm Jack. No, I'm Jack. No, I'm Jack. No, I'm Jack.
It's like magic.
That switch I told you about. I'm just pulling it out of my butt.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm really nervous.
Some girl do it.
What was your favorite song to record on Smash?
Ooh, my favorite song to record on Smash. Let's see. Oh, you know what? My favorite one to do, and only because because usually when we record the songs, even if there's a lot of other people singing it, you just do your part, and then everybody else kind of joins in later and they kind of layer you. But when we did Rewrite the Story with me and Kat McPhee, we didn't like what they had given us, because what they do is they give you like a demo version with studio singers, And we were like, I don't really like those harmonies, I don't really like that kind of vibe. And so we went to the studio together and spent a few hours and just came up with our own version of it. And so we got to kind of do it together, which was really cool, because usually I'm just hanging out solo. And then also, for the finale, we did like a kind of a cappella stomp version of Broadway Here I Come, which kind of was born all out of my brain. Because everybody else was all there, everybody was there and the idea was there, and we just couldn't figure it out. And so I just started doing all these weird rhythms and kind of latched onto that. And so I really felt kind of a nice ownership of that song too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your favorite song from Supergirl?
My favorite song from Supergirl? Is there a lot of songs in Supergirl? Let's see. Well, here, I'll answer that with the, you know, did you get to see the musical episode of The Flash?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I had a lot of fun doing that, and we did that song, Put a Little Love in Your Heart, with me, Darren Criss, and Carlos Valdez, and John Perelman. And so that was really fun to sing, and I got to hang out with new people, and that was probably my favorite thing in terms of songs.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sweetie.
Hi.
The little girl of steel.
That's right.
What's one villain that you'd really like to see Supergirl interact with and fight that hasn't?
Villain?
Yeah.
I feel like you have an answer for that.
I'm actually supposed to be a demon right now.
Are you supposed to be a demon?
I'm Gravity Falls. I'm Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls.
Okay, okay. Let's see. A super villain for Supergirl to fight? Like, I want like the Brainiac that looks like it, like his head is a giant brain, because I think that would be really funny to see on screen, and then she would just make fun of him and just like punch him. I don't know. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. So is that grade 5 or?
Hi there. So I absolutely love the dancing in Newsies, and I just had to ask, how hard was it to nail down Seize the Day when y'all were learning it?
Oh man, it took me a long time, I gotta tell you. Luckily, when we did the filming of it, they cut me out of a lot of it because I had like 3 days of rehearsal because I was shooting Supergirl. But when we did it on Broadway, I did a lot of that song, and especially the paper dance, the famous paper dance where we're dancing on newspaper. Dude, that took me forever. In fact, like the first time I really nailed it was our Tony Awards performance. I mean, there's a reason they stuck me in the back corner, because of like these amazing dancers, and then me that's like just like, let's get it going. But you know, they had a lot of faith in me, and the other guys really lifted me up and kind of gave me the confidence I needed to tackle those dances. And it just, for me, it takes time. So yeah, it took me a good minute.
Hey, we bring up the dancing in Newsies, and our newsie up here in the front row told me she can do some of this. Can I put you on the spot? Can you come up here and show us something? Show us some moves? Show us some moves? Come on up on stage. Come on up. Even if it's just a leap. She talked a big game. What do you got? Can you do the leap? Do the leap. Let's see it.
Yeah!
Boom! There we go. So,
Poster, man.
there we go.
Let's do a bell kick as you go to your seat. Okay, it works too. I like it.
There we go. So she joined the Newsboy gang.
I mean,
She's in.
yeah. I mean, might need to cut your hair like all the way off. But I put her in.
Right up here.
Okay, so my question is, what was it like during the recording of the live Newsies?
Can't hear you, sweetie.
What was the recording of
Recording the live version of
What was it
Newsies?
like?
Oh man, it was awesome.
Were there like cranes and stuff all over the place? Or?
Yeah, I mean, so they put us up in this big theater in LA, and and they had been touring the show there, so we used a lot of the tour cast. We filmed it over the course of a week. A lot of people thought we just filmed one performance. We filmed a live performance, which was at the end of everything. So we spent the whole week just shooting all the scenes like 10 times from all different angles and close-ups and wraparound shots. And so it was really fun. I mean, and bless those kids for dancing like for 10 hours a day. It was crazy. I mean, we did Santa Fe, which is the big number at the end of Act 1, like 8 times, and by like the 6th time, I was just mouthing it because I had no voice left. So, I mean, it was tough. It was really, but it was also really rewarding. And for me, it was like, let's see, it was 2016 when we filmed it. So it was the 4-year anniversary of me leaving the show back in 2012, like to the day. And so I never thought I was going to get to do the show again after I left it. And they kind of offered me to do it this one last time, and I got to do it with some of my original castmates, and it was amazing. And getting to preserve it for all time is, I mean, I can't really ask much more. It doesn't get much better than that.
Hello. Once you said you were from Carroll, I'd come say King rules.
Tigers.
Wow. Creating some real animosity there.
Literally like 9 hours away from Corpus Christi where nobody knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, literally no one in the room.
Man,
any of the drama.
I'm so fired up right now, man.
Well, hold it back. No, hold it back.
Hold me back!
I'm not going to let you. No, you don't. Just don't.
Carroll Tigers roar! I don't know, did we say that? I don't think we did.
Just made up a new school slogan. They're going to adopt it retroactively.
I was really enjoying your character development on Supergirl, and I was wondering what are some, how would you like to see your character advance, or some developments you'd like to see?
What other developments would I like to see with my character? Man, I really want Winn to turn evil. I mean, that's kind of always what I thought was going to happen because, my character was based off of the Toyman from the Batman comics. And, granted, he's my dad, and I'm like, don't want to be like my dad, but I love playing the kind of comedy and comic relief, but, I'd love to do something a little bit different, so I think he needs a little more heartbreak. I think, he needs to lose something really big in order to go down that road, but at the same time, even if he gets like super evil, maintaining his sense of humor and wacky personality, I think would be essential. So that's like kind of my dream for this sort of series-long trajectory of Winn. And maybe at the end he gets redeemed. I don't know. Thank you. Maybe he gets to kiss Supergirl again. Once.
What was your decision to start doing TV instead of Broadway? Like, what made you start auditioning for them?
I needed money. I was broke.
You're kidding me. As we all know, Broadway makes you loads of cash, right?
Well, listen, I was doing fine on Broadway, but there was a lull, when I got Smash, I was in Newsies, and it just kind of fell into my lap. Like, the writer of season 2 was a big fan of the show, of Newsies, and he kind of wrote this part for me, and so I kind of just got, I had to audition, and I had to prove myself, but I got it, and so I was kind of forced out of Broadway at first, and then I tried to go back by doing Finding Neverland, but then I got replaced. We don't have to go down that road. And so I didn't have a job, I was doing concerts to kind of pay my bills. Like I was going around doing cabarets and stuff like that. And so I was like, I'm going to LA. I'm going to get a pilot season. I've done this series before. Like, no reason I can't do another one. And Supergirl came to me, and that's where I am. But I'll be back to Broadway. Don't you worry.
Thank you.
So, no one's brought up Bonnie and Clyde yet. So I have to ask you, do you ship Bonnie and Clyde or Jack and Catherine more?
Whoa. Who do I ship more? Jack and Bonnie. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah! Because, you know, it just feels like star-crossed. Like, it feels like thick or thin, anything. Like, they really went through hell together, and you know, they went down together. So I don't know, it's a little more Romeo and Juliet, but I feel like those kind of love stories are so much more interesting. And the Jack and Catherine love story was great, but it was kind of just one part of the bigger Newsies story. And the love story in Bonnie and Clyde was kind of essential. And it was also real, like it's based on truth. I ship the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one more for you before we get to that, though. Just a couple little items to note. In this room up next, maybe a few of you out there heard of a guy named David Tennant? Okay, good. After him, Bruce Boxleitner, the one and only captain from Babylon 5. And we got Ruth Connell from Supernatural closing out the day. The wonderful Ms. Mara Wilson. Now, Jeremy, you have had a lot of people come up and see you at the show so far. You said earlier that you have not done a whole ton of these.
Not a whole ton.
Not a whole ton, but
quarter ton.
Have people brought you anything particularly surprising to sign, or had something that particularly like took you aback, touched you, just really surprised you coming up to you?
Oh man, for me, mostly I just seeing people and how kind of and knowing. Oh my God.
He's getting emotional. It's okay.
I'm getting
Jeremy. It's all.
That's what I do. I freak out and make that sound. Wow. That's actually how I get emotional, because I'm stone cold. No. What's the greatest to me, and still surprises me. I mean, I still don't fully understand when people come up to me and they're crying, or they're just so grateful to meet me, or something that I've done has changed their life. And they say, like, you changed my life. I'm like, it's hard for me to fathom that, and it kind of gives me pause, and it helps me to remember that even because I have bad days, and I have days where I'm like, oh, this sucks, why am I doing this? And to remember those kinds of people coming up to you, and when they meet you, it kind of rekindles the love for what you do, and it helps you to keep moving forward, because the more people that I can affect in any kind of positive way, the better. There have been lots of negative things out in the world, and lots of negative things said towards me and towards other people, and a lot of my friends kind of gave up either working or gave up social media because they don't want to sort of be effective, and they kind of want to keep themselves in a little safe box. But for me, I think I have to continue to use whatever I have to inspire people and keep pushing. Whatever I'm doing, whether it's sort of emotional or whether it's inspirational or even political sometimes, like it's getting to affect people in any kind of positive way is kind of become the goal of being remotely famous in any kind of way, because I feel like you can use that fame for your own advantage, for your own progression, or you can use it to help other people in whatever you can. So that's kind of what I'm trying to move forward towards, and seeing people at these events that have been effective in that way only continues to help me move in that direction.
That's an important thing, man. I think there are probably at least a few young actors out in the audience who Newsies was a big deal to them, and is an inspiration to them, and a big reason why they're doing shows. They are, finding their own way as an artist. Now, before we close out, we will get a round of applause for him, but we wouldn't be able to do these shows without our crew. You're a man of the theater. The crew is essential.
Truth.
Nothing would happen without the crew. At this show in particular, as we close things out, we're with without a signature member of our crew, a guy named Kirk Elliott, one of our red shirt leads. He passed recently, and a lot of us are wearing buttons, we're wearing wristbands. We miss him, we wish he were here, and in the spirit of Kirk, I hope that all of you that are here are making new friends, saying hello to people that you don't know, and recognizing the fact that we are all friends and you have a whole ton of friends that are right here in this room. Let's hear it one more time for the crew and for Kirk Elliott, please. Let's keep it going.